and welcome back to Mariana Mass Books. My name is Mariana and today I am here with a reading plans video, which is a weird video to make at this point in the year, but there has been some development of things. I have just finished reading The Lions of Rasean by Gavriel Kay, and now I have the urge, the necessity to read every single book that Gabriel Kay has ever written. I don't think I have ever read a complete bibliography, a complete body of work ever before, but I want to do that or attempt to do that. And so I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to read one Gabriel Kay book a month for the rest of the year, and through next year until I finish with his books. And so I thought, oh, I'm going to make a video about my reading plans for the rest of the year, because I actually started making a list and started making my plans. So as is usually the case with me, these plans will most definitely change. I am always getting excited about new things, and so that's why my plans are constantly changing. But as of now, this is what I'm thinking for the rest of the year. I am going to start with my written in stone reading plans, my fixed for sure reading plans. And the first two, which are super written in stone because I'm doing those alongside other people, which are finished reading The Realm of the Elderlings, which, if I may add, even if I wasn't body reading it, at this point, the way that I'm obsessed with The Realm of the Elderlings, I would finish it even if I wasn't reading it with anyone else. But that's not the point. At the moment, the idea is one book a month, which would mean that we would finish it by January of next year. And then the other written in stone plan is, of course, Historathon 2023, which is a nonfiction history readathon that I'm co-hosting. And of course, I will keep reading things for Historathon. And then the other addition to the written in stone plans is one GGK Gabriel Kay book a month. For the rest of the year, my idea is for the rest of the year and until I'm done with all of his books. But as I said, I have commitment issues when it comes to plans. At the moment, I'm very excited though, so I'm rooting for myself to actually follow through and read one GGK book a month until I'm done with all of his books. So those are the three written in stone reading plans. If I only did that, I would be happy. But of course, I usually read more than 3 books a month. So I have a list of things that I would like to sprinkle in on top of those main 3, and this is what I'm thinking. The main genres which I want to keep reading for this year are one, fantasy. I'm in a very fantasy mood at the moment, as you know. The other one is classics. I really want to read some classics. I haven't read any this year. And then the other is nonfiction, which, you know, I love. I'm reading a lot of nonfiction because of the Historathon, but also other nonfiction that I would like to read. I actually made a list from the Booktube Prize nominees, like for the long list of the Booktube Prize, and there are a lot in there that I want to read for nonfiction books. So, you know, I want to sprinkle in more nonfiction into my reading. I usually do a lot of nonfiction. If you have watched my previous videos for this year, my wrap-ups and stuff, I have been reading nonfiction. So those are the 3 genres. You will notice the lack of me mentioning romance, and that is because since last year I have been struggling with romance, so I do want to read romance. I do want to try to get back into romance because I mean, it was basically my bread and butter for the past 2 years. But if I see my list of books I want to read, my priority of the ones that I'm like, I want to read this, romance is not at the top. Not at the top. But I do have a list of some romance books within the romance genre, romance books that I would like to read. And then finally, there are readathons that I want to consider. Currently this month I'm doing ANCIENTSATHON, and then for the upcoming months, apart from Historathon, which we know I'm going to be doing all year, apart from that, the two readathons that I know are coming up later in the year that I like to do. One is Victober, which I actually didn't participate in Victober last year, but I want to try to do it this year. And at the moment, the one that is at the top of my list that I would like to do for Victober is David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. I really want to read that one. And then Nonfiction November, which is my favorite readathon of the whole year. And one of my favorite things about Nonfiction November is, waiting for the 4 prompts and then looking for books that match those prompts. So I don't plan my Nonfiction November read ahead. However, there is one title at the moment. I mean, there are many titles. I always have a big nonfiction list, but from my nonfiction list, the one that is calling to me most at the moment is Magnificent Rebels, The First Romantics and the Invention of the Self by Andrea, Wulf, which is actually one of the ones that I got from the BookTube prize, I believe. So that one is currently at the top of my nonfiction list, other than the Historathon stuff. And it would be cool if I could fit this one into one of the prompts, but again, I always have fun with that. So of course, in October, when the prompts are announced, I will be making a Nonfiction November video. I always do. And then, one more thing that I forgot. I think it's in August. I'm almost sure it's August. My friend Cara at Wild Book Garden, she hosts a book club with her friends Julia and Taylor. It is called Past It Classics, and they read classics every month. And I think it's in August, they are going to be reading 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel García Márquez, which is a book that I read when I was in high school and I loved it. And it's one of those books that I say is one of my favorite books, but I haven't read it since I was in high school, so I want to reread it. And I've been wanting to reread it for a while, but it's one of those that it's never at the top of my list. So when I saw that Cara and Julia and Taylor were doing it for Past It Classics, I thought, I'm going to join them. So I'm planning on joining them. I think it's in August, for 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel García Márquez. Other than that, I have a list currently of the top 5 books I want to read in every genre that I want to read, so fantasy, classics, and nonfiction. And I was going to read you those lists, but one that would make this video harder to edit because I would have to add all the book images, and also my plans change, and this is my top 5 list for today, but I bet you that tomorrow that list would be different. So there's no point in me reading you a list of books that may or may not make it to one of my reading months. I prefer to keep it general and chatty and rambly as this video has been. One more thing. Okay. December. December is always a month that I'm always excited about because December is my favorite month. Christmas is my favorite season. December is also my birthday, and so I always plan really special reads for December. And usually Usually at that time of the year, I'm very much in the mood to read Christmassy things. But I have to be honest with you, and this is going to change because I know myself. And once the cold season starts, and once there are Christmas ornaments and Christmas music in the supermarket, I will get in the Christmas mood, and my reading list will become Christmassy. But at the moment, I'm kind of thinking that it sounds appealing to me to maybe try to read Game of Thrones in December. At the moment, that's why it feels fun. Because I just finished a couple months ago. I finished my rewatch of Game of Thrones. I watched it with my mom. She had never watched it, and she loved it. And of course, I was like, oh my god, I didn't remember. This is so good. And so I read the first chapter of the first book, and I really loved it. And I've always been kind of like, there are so many characters, and I don't like multiple POV books, so like doesn't sound like it will be the best series for me. But I was so in the mood for Game of Thrones, and I'm so still like with the hype from my rewatch. And the first chapter was so good that I was like, maybe I don't want to try to read it. And December sounds like a good month because it would be so fun. But again, I know myself, and I know that when December comes, I will be in the mood for Christmassy stuff. But again, this is my video of as of today, this is what I'm feeling. So as of today, that's what I'm feeling. So those are my current reading plans for the rest of the year. My next video will probably be a dedicated video for The Lions of Rasean by Gavriel Kay. I need everyone to read it. I have already convinced a member of my family to read it, and I will be proselytizing about Gabriel Kay. Like, the proselytizing has begun. So with that, I will finish this video. I never know what to say at the end of videos, but I will leave it at that. I will see you soonish with another bookish video, and in the meantime, I wish you happy reading.